Hey guys, Gathering the Magic back again. It's been a while. It's been almost 2 weeks since I've had a video uploaded and just checked, and today is video number 600, so kind of a milestone for the channel. So it's been a couple years since I started recording Splinterlands content. So just wanted to give you that. Video number 600, just getting started. Okay, so today is Splinterlands Market Watch. Today is episode number 9 for April 21st, 2024. So it's been 2 weeks since the last Market Watch update. So like you guys know, I like to just kind of take a look at how tokens, packs, cards, prices are going, and what's going on in Splinterlands. So let's start with SPS. So as you guys know, SPS has been taking a dip. 2 weeks ago was about 1.72 cents. It's rebounded a little bit. It's almost back up to 1.5 cents. I think I saw it as low as like 1.35 or somewhere in that range. So maybe we've kind of found a floor and we're settling right around that 1.5 cent range. Vouchers. Voucher price has held pretty steady for the last 2 weeks. Just a real slight dip from 3.5 cents to just under 3.5 cents. Of course, we just had the big promo event a few days ago, which burned a lot of vouchers, and we'll see that in a minute. Vouchers in circulation a couple weeks ago. I think this was as high as about 12.8 million, and then we hit the burning event, and that took about 1.5 million vouchers out of circulation. So, you know, we're growing 40,000 vouchers a day. So in the last 2 weeks, we've gone down almost 1.5 million vouchers. Now, that's going down 1.5, plus that's also taking in effect that 40,000 plus a day. So if you add that, that's about another, what, 560,000 vouchers. So that's about 2 million vouchers that have been eaten up, and I'm sure most of it is from the promo event. So over the last 2 weeks, if you guys know, if you've been watching this series, usually we go up, not 40,000 a day. It's usually anywhere from 13 to 18,000 when you take into account all the different burning mechanisms that people do day to day. But with that halving event, it's knocked it down to where the last 2 weeks, the amount has gone down over 100,000 a day. So it's curious to see how it goes for the next couple of weeks moving forward. Now that that big burn event is done, are we still going to go back to gaining, 15, 18,000 vouchers a day? Time will tell. We'll see how that goes, especially if they come out with new items in the Glint store and maybe some kind of voucher use in that as well. So stay tuned. But as for now, we did burn, 1.5 to 2 million vouchers. So that is good for getting that supply down and maybe getting the price more stabilized. As far as SPS burnt has gone for the last 2 weeks, pretty much has come to a standstill. In the last 2 weeks, we've only burned not even 500,000 SPS tokens. Probably part of that is with SPS being so low. So on a day-to-day basis, we're burning about 32,000 SPS a day, and the SPS total supply has gone down slightly. We're still at basically almost 2.9 billion tokens. Okay, moving on to packs. Pack prices, pretty steady, not a whole lot of movement. The only real big jump is dice, going from about 10 bucks a pack to 14. Some of these prices are kind of misleading. Say, for example, the alpha packs, the only reason it's currently valued at $34.93 is about a month ago there was like one pack that sold, and based on the price of Hive, that's why it's $34.93. The asking price is close to 70. So even though there's a pack that sold that cheap, you're not going to find a pack for $35 on the market. It's going to be basically twice that. One pack looks like it came off the market and sold and was opened. So we went from 43.07 to 43.06. Beta packs holding kind of steady, $25 to $30 range. About 127 packs were opened there. Untamed price came down a little bit to from 935 to 806. But once again, I think this price is a little bit higher. I think maybe on Hive now the asking price is around 850 to 875. So basically right around that $9 a pack mark for Untamed. Looks like we opened 123 packs over the last couple weeks. Like I said, dice price went up a little bit, actually 50%. It's a decent jump from 2 weeks ago, but only 13 packs were open there. Orb, same thing, very low movement on Orb, 11 packs open there. Chaos Legion, I think I mentioned 2 weeks ago when we were hit 65 cents, I'm like, can we see 50-cent Chaos Legion packs? Yes, we can. They are here. In fact, I've been doing a little bit of flipping on the market, buying them off Hive for around 50 cents and selling them in Splinterlands for 60 to 62 cents, so made some money there. But yeah, basically packs are still 50 cents. Now they're trending up a little bit. I think on Hive might be 53, 54 cents. So kind of found that floor right at 50 cents. It's rebounding a little bit. Over the last 2 weeks, we've opened just under 42,000 packs. So still very active for Chaos Legion. No, there's a ton of supply. Still over, 2.2 million packs, but we are opening a decent amount every day and very high sell volume. Rift Watchers, this kind of surprised me that Rift Watchers really dropped in price, at least pack price. It said as of today that the current price was $2. I looked like a day or two ago and it was around $2.40 or $2.50, so I don't know if this 2 is accurate, at least going by the Splinter Cards price, but still, it has dropped quite a bit from 2 weeks ago when it was just over $3 a pack. And looking at the numbers, looking at the packs left, there was 259 more packs left than previous 2 weeks ago. I don't know if these were moved from a different chain back to Hive or what's going on with that, but still just over 127,000 Rift Watcher packs are still available. And then Rebellion, 2 weeks ago, 325 is up to about 350. So Rebellion is one of the few packs that's actually gone up. We are selling not very many Rebellion packs though. Over the last 2 weeks, we've only sold 8,300 packs in 2 weeks. So you're looking at 16,000 packs a month. That's very, very low, just under 600 a day. So at least sales-wise for Rebellion has pretty much come to a standstill. Okay, looking at sets. So now let's start actually looking at the cards so we can get a documentation of how everything is doing. And of course, we'll start with Alpha and start with the commons. So your cheapest Alpha common is 47 cents. You can see the liquidity here, how many cards there are, what the overall circulation is. Let's just go to regular foil for now. So this has pretty much been the same, right around 50 cents for your cheapest common, up to about $3 for the Flesh Golem. Looking at your rare cards, just under $1 for the low-end Alpha rare cards. Then your most expensive is Ulrich at 10. Other than that, $3.29 for Cerebus. You can see very low numbers, even for the ones on the market, just in the teens and 20s for the most part. Moving to Epics, $4.40 for the Air Elemental, 9 copies, up to $9.89 for the Naga Warrior. And rounding out with the Legendary cards, your cheapest Alpha Legendary, $32 for the Elemental Phoenix, up to Chromatic Dragon at $250. And then if we look at the promo cards, common promo, $13 for the Dragon Whelp, just $49 for the rare, $500 for the epic, and $3,600 for the legendary. And let's go and look at the gold foils. So just at the core, gold foil commons. So it looks like the gold foil commons for alpha, maybe in 2 weeks, are we going to get sub $20 gold foil alpha commons? That may be a time for me to start looking at picking a couple of these up. I've been debating about grabbing a couple of these just because, it's the very first set. It's alpha and they're gold foils and the rarest of the rare. Even at common level, you can see there's not even there's 400 copies of that one, but basically under 400 of each of these in existence, and only a handful of them on the market at a time. So just under $21 for Rexy, and then $134 for the Cobalt Miner. Looking at rares, now you jump up to $98 for the Frozen Soldier, And it had been Tyrus was the most expensive rare summoner at 600. Now we have 2 copies of Malric. The cheapest there is $800. So you start getting some of these rare summoners for Alpha Gold Foil. They get very pricey. Looking at epics, only one epic, Serpent of the Plain for 500. And then for legendaries, only a single copy of Lord of Darkness for $28.90. So we look at the prices here. Not, like I said, not a whole lot of movement. Like the Epic promo, we'll get to that in a minute, kind of jumped up in price. Gold foil commons pretty much staying in that same range. And then, of course, once you get to the gold foil epics and legendaries, there's usually only a single card and a single copy of those. Looking at the promos. So just 2 copies of, or 2 different promos. You have the common for 2,800 and then the rare for 98. So if you have an alpha gold foil promo card, you are in very rare company. So that's it for alpha. So let's move on to the beta cards. Let's just look at the core and the reward cards. So moving on to beta. Not a lot of change in the base cards, but there are a couple of rarities that I really want to point out because I've not seen this since I started doing the Market Watch. Usually, you know, your cheapest card for these sets, you know, are in the pennies, and then your most expensive card is usually, you know, $1 or $2. Just in the last 2 weeks, these 2 cards have jumped up in price, just way above what they should be. The Peaceful Giant at $6.34. I mean, this realistically should be about a 10 or 12 cent card. But there's only 5 on the market, so people have listed them this high. So this just kind of shows, with the liquidity being low, if some of these cards do start selling out or getting to, you know, under 10 or 15 copies, people can basically ask what they want, and the prices can really, really move. But these 2 cards, and the Grumpy Dwarf, another card, probably should be an 8 to 10 cent card. Only 16 of them, and they're listing them for $14. Now, is it for some reason because they're both neutrals? Not really sure why. But then, of course, you have the Centaur that's neutral and still saying at 30 cents. So these 2 cards just really struck me as a kind of a just outlier, just really strange why these 2 beta commons jumped up in price that much. So just wanted to point that out. We get to the rares. Once again, you get about 25 to 30 cents for a beta rare. Let it update the pictures so we get an accurate, there we go. So, you know, about 30 cents or so for the cheapest rare. Moving up to your most expensive card. Once again, it used to be a couple weeks ago, it was Ulrich was the most expensive. I think he was around 10, so he's come down to 475. And the Cockatrice, still at 824. So a couple weeks ago, the Cockatrice was like 10, 1038. So it's still the most expensive rare for some reason. And then epics. Cheapest epics right around $1. Scroll through these, and your most expensive is the Air Elemental at $10. And then looking at your legendary cards, $5.90 for the Fallen Spectre. Up to, this has been staying right around that price, about $145 for Voldemort. So those are your regular foils. Now if we get to gold foils, your gold foil commons. $1.97 for the Highland Archer, up to Silver Shield Warrior at $30. This again is kind of an outlier. I would not say this is the most powerful of the commons, but it is the most pricey. Gold foil rares, looking at $11.78 for the Naga Windmaster. Chicken right there at 22, just basically under $22. Some of your summoners right around $30 for a beta gold foil summoner, up to $105 for Ulrich. And then your epic gold foils, $60 is the cheapest for the Fire Spitter. You can see the very low numbers on these, you know, under 10. And look at these single copies of a lot of these gold foil epics. Up to $469 for the Brownie. And then for your gold foil legendaries for beta, just a handful. Look at single copies of all of these except for the Kraken, which can be yours at the low price of $420,000. So it's one of those things where it's just not a realistic price, but when there's only single copies, you can pretty much just name your price. But just to give you an idea, $600 plus for a beta gold foil legendary card. Let's look at the promos. Let's look at the regular foil. So Delwyn's been holding right around that 75 to 77 cent range for the common Dragon Summoner. Your Dragling Bowman, the rare, 45 cents. Fiendish Harpy Epic at 309. Red Dragon at 20. And then the two promo ones, legendaries, 1111 for Archmage Arius and 7300 for Prince Julian. So you can see how those, pretty much the common, rare, and epic are pretty much the same price. They haven't moved a whole lot. The Red Dragon came down slightly to that $20. Prince Julian, I think before this was 7,300. Now he's back to 7,300. Archmage Arius is about the same. Let's just look at the gold foil promos while we're here. There's only a copy of the common and rare for sale. The other ones are not available. And let's look at regular gold. We just did that. Okay. Let's see. So we went through that. Legendary promos. I think it's time for Untamed. Let's move on to Untamed. Let's go to regular foil. And we'll check out Untamed, core, and reward cards. Once again, there's not going to be a lot of movement in the base cards. In the non-gold foils, they're pretty much staying in that same range, but for your kind of notable cards, Kitty is about the same price at 90. Llama dipped down slightly to 45. Jotun took kind of a dip. I think a month and a half ago, Jotun was right around $100. Now it's almost half price. It's right around 60, and then Kron continues to slide down to $13. But just to get kind of a visual, so we've got a snapshot of all the cards at all the different rarities. We're going to go through this just real quick. So here are your common cards. Like I said, penny, of course, for the cheapest, up to Failed Summoner. This was 90 cents a couple weeks ago, so this has kind of dipped down to more of that normal top-end price range for the commons, you know, around 25 to 30 cents. Then looking at your rare cards, 8 cents for your cheapest rare. Some great cards in this set. Living Lava, 28 cents. Shield Bearer, a card I love to talk about. I remember this card being, you know, $8-10 per BCX, and then I was all excited when it went under $1. Now it's at 36 cents. And then some just great key cards, you know, Ice Pixie, 57 cents. Another one, Unicorn Mustang, you know, $4 to $5 card, now 61 cents. And then Summoner Bortus, you know, a good summoner to have with that -1 magic at 83 cents. Looking at the epics, 20 cents for the Pyromancer, up to $1.38 for the Torchton Chief, and then rounding it out with the legendary cards. So a little over $2 for your cheapest legendary, and then some of the key cards here, like we went through. Kitty just over 90, Jotun at 59, Llama at 45. Kron, can Kron hit $10? You know, just a month and a half ago, it was around 18 to 20. Now it's down to 13, continues to slide. And we're getting some summoners. I mean, legendary summoners for just over $10. I mean, even if these aren't the most powerful, these are still pretty good cards. So to pick up just to have like a single copy in your collection, not a bad idea. I mean, if you're someone that DCAs, like I know KGM Jam has his $10 daily DCA, it might get to the point in a couple of weeks where he might be able to spend his $10 and pick up a legendary summoner from Untamed for that $10. So you guys know I'm going to keep checking the market every 2 weeks. So really want to keep an eye on these summoners and see how that price goes. Okay, so let's look at, so those are the regular foils. So let's now look at the promo cards. So your promo cards, Halfling Alchemist continues to go down. So it was $4 range. Now it's down to just over 3. Chain Golem. This card really fluctuates in price. I remember it just month and a half ago, being like $30, $40 a piece. Now it's settled back down to 10. And then the Mighty Dricken at 1500. While we're here, let's look at the gold foil. So the gold foil, 104 for your Halfling Alchemist and 265 for the Chain Golem. And let's see. So now let's just look at the gold foils for the regular cards. So your gold foil commons, cheapest one, just over 50 cents, 50, 60 cents for your cheapest gold foil commons. Moving on up to, once again, Albatross, the most expensive card at $7.76. Then we go to the rare cards. And this is what kind of surprised me. The cheapest rare is a summoner for under $3. Now usually if you look at, like, say, Chaos Legion, for example, your rare is your most expensive card, and then the other rares are just kind of, whatever. But in this one, 2 of the 3 cheapest cards are summoners. So these to me seem to be kind of undervalued. Even if they're not the most powerful, they do have their uses, and just the simple fact that it is a summoner, it is gold foil, it is from an older set, to me those seem very undervalued. And then of course we get to the most expensive card, Efreet Elder. Good card, but is this really the most powerful card for the rares? Should this be the most expensive? I think it might be a little bit off. Because once again, here's a summoner that you see near the top of the list, 1184. And Bortus, like I said, I really love this summoner too, $10. So just kind of surprised that those summoners are that cheap. Looking at the epics, right around $13, $15 for your cheapest gold foil epics. Moving up to Sorcerer at just over 24. And then the best of the best, the legendaries. Once again, your cheapest card is a summoner at $211. Now, granted, not the most powerful card, but still a decent card with Repair, Triage, Resurrect. Might be a good buy at that price, the cheapest gold foil legendary on the market. And then moving up to the top cards, Jotun at 4,500, Almo Cambio just under 3,000, Gold Foil Kitty just over $1,600, Robo Dragon Knight $1,600, Llama just under 800, Kron, that card continues to fall, under $300 now at 273. So you can see the prices here. You can see the circulation. Here's another reason why I think this card is undervalued. Look at the circulation numbers. You're basically in the low 100s for all these cards. Now Jotun is just under 100. Chancius is only 88. Chancius looks like it has the lowest print of any of these cards, and it's the cheapest. So not financial advice, but this card seems like it should be a lot higher than it is. And then we have all the documentation here. So we just went through all those numbers. So let's go through dice. Dice will go quickly because it is a very small set. So let's look at dice. So dice commons, of course, 2 to 9 cents. Not a whole lot of movement there. Going to the rares. Cheap, all summoners, of course. So 20 cents for your cheapest summoner, and Mylor is actually under $2 now. I know last Market Watch he hit 2. I picked a couple of them up. I might pick up a couple more of these under $2. Still a very useful card, and just a very iconic card in Splinterlands history. So under $2 for Mylor. Epic cards, just a few epic cards here, 30 cents up to 99 cents. And then your legendaries, $2.70 for the Lensmaster, up to Crawlus at 17, and then Opponent at just under $45. You can see very low numbers here as well. And then let's look at the gold foils. So gold foil commons, 75 cents to $1.16. Your rares for the summoners, basically $3 for your cheapest gold foil summoner. And look at this, a gold foil Mylor for $17. And actually Lorna Shine. I think 2 weeks ago Lorna Shine was a lot cheaper. I don't have those broken down by summoners. I might have to do that at some point. But yeah, 2 weeks ago, your summoners went to 2185, and I think 2185 a couple weeks ago was Lorna. I think Lorna was above Mylor. So once again, what a great price for a gold foil Lorna Shine, $13. You're going to tell me Bright and Bloom's more, I guess, in Earthquake rule sets, but still, overall, I would put Lorna above Bright and Bloom. Okay, looking at epics, just have a couple epic cards here. $16 for the cheapest, up to $18.20 for the Grenadier. So there's the correct artwork for those. And then for your legendary cards, quite a variety of legendaries that are available, but you can see just a handful of copies of these cards. Only a single copy of the Epona for $29.50. Krallis at $360. Your cheapest one, Thulu, at $146. So very low print run for these as well. As you can see, Epona only $29. Two Gun Pete only $48. So very, very hard to get cards. Okay, so that's it for dice. So let's move on to Essence Orbs. So for your orbs, once again, just for your commons, you can see this is the set. I mean, we could break it down by rarity, but you can fit it all on one page. So your commons, 7 to 11 cents. Your rares, 33 to 44. All pretty good cards as well. Your epics, hanging around that $3.50 to $4 range. Mermaid, Healer, and Dwarven Wizard. And then your legendary cards. Your Minotaur Warlord for $13.25, Lord of Fire for just under $16, and Corrupted Pegasus for $21. There's the artwork for those cards. And then if we look at the gold foils, once again, you can get everything on a single page, but just to break it by rarity, so your commons, $3 to $7.50 for the Armor Smith. Your rares, 14 to basically 20 bucks for the rares. Your epics, you know, right around the $100 range for each of the two epics. And then for your legendaries, just one copy of each. Two of the Minotaur Warlord, one here, one there. So I think this is the first time I've seen Lord of Fire. So I have that one marked down. There was none 2 weeks ago, and I don't remember seeing it before. The main one I keep seeing is the Minotaur Warlord for $8,500. Okay, so let's move on now to everyone's famous and favorite Chaos Legion. So let's go to regular foil, common, and let's check out Chaos Legion, the Corn reward cards. Once again, you're not going to get a whole lot of movement in the lower end cards, or are you? This is something that kind of surprised me. The commons, pretty much the same. You know, tons and tons of them out there. 10 cents continues to be the high card for Scavo Hireling. He's been the most expensive common. 10 to 15 cent range down to 10. But what a fantastic time to pick up some of these, you know, cards at just such cheap prices, especially if you need to level these things up. You know, 4 cents for a Deep Lurker. So good time to pick up those if you haven't already, but I'm sure everybody's probably got these maxed out by now. Your rares, this is what I really wanted to point out. Of course, your cheapest rares, 2 cents, not surprising, but the summoners continue to fall. And the thing that really surprised me was Kelly at 33 cents. 2 weeks ago, this was 67 cents. You know, and some of these had been in the maybe 40 cent, mid to high 30 cent range. You know, General Sloan, maybe around 20 cents or just under. So seeing him at 14 cents isn't too surprising. Seeing these other three summoners in the low 20s, okay, yeah, they've dipped down a little bit, but seeing Kelia down to 33, this might be the lowest that I remember seeing Kelia at. You know, sub 50 cents to me is kind of amazing, but 33 cents, yeah, if you don't have a Kelia and don't have one at the level you need it, wow, I don't really know if it's going to go much cheaper. And I mean, the liquidity is still pretty much the same, you know, a couple hundred copies of each of these. Rare summoners seems to be the norm, so it's not like all of a sudden there's 700 on the market and that's why it's dropped that much. Just kind of surprised that it's this low. So we'll see in a couple weeks if this price stays around 30 cents or if it kind of rebounds to the 40 to 50 cent range, but just kind of wanted to point that out. Looking at your epics, 10 cents seems to be the floor price for the epics. Most expensive is your Wave Brood at 41. Still some really good cards that you can pick up for around, 25 cents or so. So great prices there. And then your legendaries. Floor seems to be about 50 cents. So once again, if you're someone that DCAs or you're looking at picking up some legendary cards at a great price, 50 cents, 75 cents, a dollar. The cards that I want to highlight, and I'm going to be picking up more of these cards, are the Fiends. So you can get a Max Fiend for under 10 bucks, which is a fantastic buy, especially now where people are, not limited by leagues, are able to play max level cards if they have the summoners. Once you get these cards maxed out, they do get abilities, and they cost 0 mana. So under 10 bucks for these things. In fact, let's just really quickly just look at max level just so you can see the prices. So some of these cards you can get for under 6 bucks for a max legendary card. So just looking at the Fiends, yep, 825, 857, under 9 bucks. So just great prices, I think, overall. And I don't see 0 mana cost cards coming around too often in future sets, since these have already been done. So they could do it at some point in the future, but I highly doubt you'll ever see a 0 mana cost card again, since they already have that covered. And then your most expensive cards, your summoners, $9.30 for Immortalis, under 8 bucks for Possibilis, 6 bucks for Lily, another great buy if you're someone that DCAs. $5, just under $5 for Yasik, under 5 for Quick. So you've got some very good summoners here that, once again, if you haven't gotten these to the level you need, these prices are pretty tempting. Okay, so now let's take a look at the promo cards. So your promo cards, these came up a little bit. Archimus and Vruz, the commons, they were like 15 to 20 cent range. Now they're in the low to mid 20s. The one card I really wanted to talk about is Dr. Blight. So this card, Dr. Blight, a couple weeks ago, was $22. I'm like, okay, that seems about right. 20 bucks or so for Dr. Blight. $11 for a Dr. Blight. Oshure, 13. Zuriel, just under 23. Waka, 185. And Lux, not too long ago, this was a $450 card, $250. Remember, I believe all these are automatically level 4. So it shows a 1 here, but all the cards that are available for sale, right here, are all level 4s. And you can see there's only 1 at that price. So it looks like it's already changed. It's showing $250, but it's showing here the cheapest is $275 to $300. So maybe $275 now is the cheapest price for these. Let's look at the gold foil promos while we're here. So the cheapest gold foils, of course, the promo cards, $1.55 for Archimus, $2 for Vruz. So let's look at the gold foil promos. So those have actually come down a little bit. So it's kind of interesting. The regular foils went up in price slightly, but the gold foils went down in price slightly. And then for your gold foil legendary cards, Oshure at 75, Dr. Blight 116, Zuriel 155, and Waka at 3,800. No gold foil Lux. And looking at the regular gold foil cards for your core and your rewards, 17 cents for your cheapest for the Gargoyle Lion. And then, of course, Scavo is still the most expensive, but still just over $1. I mean, if you take Scavo out of the equation, 65 cents is your most expensive gold foil common for Chaos Legion. Looking at the rares, 89.90 cents for your cheapest rare. You can see the liquidity numbers here, cards in circulation. And then the summoners, of course, the most expensive. These had spiked about a month and a half, 2 months ago, kind of spiked up in price. Now they've settled back down. The one card that kind of jumped ahead of a lot of the other ones and actually jumped a couple of summoners, the Cursed Wendigo at $220. Gold foil Kelliot's $368. So once again, you can get gold foil summoners for right around $2 to $3. So if you don't have these and you want the gold foil over the regular version to get that 10% bonus, good time at least going by how the prices have been for the last 2 months. These have been a little bit pricey, like a month and a half ago. Like Kelly, I think was 6, 7. So they've kind of settled down now, and I think a lot of it is due to the overall sentiment in Splinterlands. There's been a lot of people that have talked about, or maybe have, sold part of their collection and moved on to other games. So maybe that's why some of these prices are kind of soft. Gold foil epics, one of my favorite cards to look for land. So now under $4 for the cheapest card. So I do have some plots where I need some death cards. I might be picking up some more Insidious Warlocks for under 4. Most expensive. Now look at this. The most expensive gold foil epic is under $6. Now for a while there was quite a range. The most expensive ones would be $8, $9. Oh, Dax Paragon. Yeah, I definitely need to pick up a couple of these. I have a 8 BCX one, so if I can get 2 more copies for 10 and get him maxed out for land, I'm definitely going to do that. But yeah, these prices have come down, from, like I said, around $7, $8 range up to like 10 or 11 most expensive. Now your most expensive is under 6. And get ready for this, for the legendaries. Cheapest gold foil legendaries. 35 to 40 seemed to be the floor for a while. Now we're hitting 25 for the floor, as you can see, an exact $25 floor for some of these gold foil legendary cards. And the thing that really surprised me was the high end. Now, normally when you have a $35, $40 low end, your high end is in the $80 to $100 range. Look at this. Even the most expensive gold foil legendary cards are under $50. This used to be the floor. $45, $50 was the floor for a gold foil legendary card. The cheapest ones, the ones nobody wanted. Ifrit Rising maybe was like 35 to 40. Now you've got your most expensive ones, an Immortalis for under 40, Possibilis for under 40, a Lily for 44. So I'm not sure how long these prices will hold. Will they dip a little bit further? Time will tell, but I really can't see these going much lower. But once again, who can predict the market? Okay, so I think we went through everything for Chaos Legion. So now let's move on to Rift Watchers. So we'll look at the regular foil. And this will go kind of quick because this is a small set, just so we can get a kind of a visual of the print run and numbers on the market. 2 cents to 13 cents for the commons. For your rare cards, 9 cents. Up to Queen of Crows and Tinderlock continue to be the top 2 cards. Queen of Crows at just under $1. And for your epics, for your summoners, the cheapest ones have been usually under $1. But Ilthane had kind of held its price around, the $4 to $5 range. Then it dipped under 4. It's under 3 now. So if you're looking to pick up Ilthane, $2.75 is about as low as it's been. I think this might be the low price. Fernheart for $1.50. So I think pretty good deals on some of these probably more desirable summoners from Rift Watchers. And then looking at your legendary cards, these prices have dipped, but some of the high-end ones have not. I mean, Immolation and Inevitable. If you consider, kind of the sentiment in the market and the players, people selling collections, prices going down. Core Lurker used to be 20, now it's 18.50. You've still got a couple of cards holding solidly above $20. So, there is still some value to be seen in Rift Watchers. And let's look at the gold foil. So gold foil commons, 30 cents for the cheapest, up to $2.99 for the Ash Mirage. For your rare cards, $1.26 for Scavo Technomancer and Queen of Crows, $7.45. Your epics, for your summoners, look at this, Ilthane, $20. What was Ilthane 2 weeks ago? So I'm sure she was the most expensive gold foil a couple weeks ago. So 25. So 25.50 down to $20. And then for your gold foil legendaries, 35 for the floor here, up to, still some cards holding above $100. I mean, we saw Chaos Legion, of course, so much more Chaos Legion than Rift Watchers. but still, you've got some cards holding, you know, over $100, almost $250 for inevitable, and only 2 copies there. So good value there. And let's round this out. I think we've talked about everything for this. Time to wrap up with Rebellion. So of course we had the 2 new promo cards. Actually, let's start with the promos. So let's knock this down a little bit. Let's just look at regular. Let's look at the rare. So Grimbardin Smith had dipped down, rebounded last week to $7. Dipped a little bit down to $6. The gold foil, we look at that. So the gold foil is at 41 for Grimbardin Smith, so dipped down a little bit as well. The new kid on the block, Henchling Enforcer. First time, of course, he has been on the market, just came out. So he right now is at $1.60, and the gold foil is just under 13. So let's see how these prices go. Print run for the rare, at least the cards in circulation, just under 8,000, just under 500 on the market. And then for the gold foil, just under 700 in circulation and 47 on the market. So I'm curious to see 2 weeks from now how many of these cards get combined, you know, burned, and then what the circulation numbers do for that. Legendary, new card Baron Fiat, cost what, like $30 basically to get. 1123, 2,600 cards in circulation, and the gold foil 114 with just over 200 copies available. And then we can see here Mantaroth had a nice rebound a couple weeks ago. Mantaroth had dipped down to 35. He was around the $50 range. Now he's back up to the $50 range. The gold foil dipped slightly, but still holding strong over 400. As you can see, only 131 cards in circulation, only 7 on the market. So those are the promo cards. Now let's just kind of look at the regular foil cards. Like I said, there probably won't be a whole lot of movement in your regular foils. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. We're just going to basically just kind of scroll through so you can just see the circulation, how many cards are available, how many are on the market. Let's go by common. So cheapest common, 7 cents. Going on up to Summoner for 49 cents. Looking at the rares, 22 cents for the Demon. You can see roughly 4,000 or so cards in circulation for each of the rares. Most expensive continues to be these two, Avena and Moxie and Rebel, right around just over $2, so still holding that price range. Your epics, $1.05 for Executioner Kron, up to Captain Fellblade at just under $4 at $3.80. And then your legendary cards, $5 basically for the cheapest, so then you get into the $6 range, up to $20.78 for Rage. Did kind of make a note of some of the key rare cards where they were at 2 weeks ago. So Kai was 11, now it's 10.29. Kane dipped slightly down to 17. Rage just a few pennies cheaper to just under 21, and then Darg went from 25 to just under 21. So those are the prices for some of your key legendary cards in Rebellion. You can see the amount in circulation here, still pretty low for a new set. Let's look now at the gold foils to wrap this up. So your gold foil commons continue to be above, $1.25, $1.30-ish for your cheapest gold foil common, up to just under $5 for your gold foil summoner. And then your rares, now you're jumping up to $5 for a gold foil rare, up to, the two best rares right now, $18 for Avena and $19 for Moxie and Rebel. Your epics, $24 is the cheapest, up to $58, just under $59. So you're seeing the gold foil epics pretty much stay in that $25 to $30 range for the most part. And then finishing off with the gold foil legendaries, not all the cards in the set are available as a gold foil legendary on the marketplace. Your cheapest is, we'll just say 120 for your cheapest ones, up to 300 for Nalrala. And just going by from a couple weeks ago, Kai dipped down from 209 to 200. A Kane, you know, another slight dip, 188 to 179. There's no gold foil rage, if you notice. There's no gold foil rage on the marketplace. Darg dipped from 210 to basically 180. Rush, I put this one down just because the price was kind of high, 258. There is no Rush, gold foil Rush on the marketplace, and then Narala dipped to 300. So even being a newer set, yes, gold foil legendaries are hard to pull. A lot of these are probably on the mage wagons. So you can see extremely low liquidity. There's 4 or less of each gold foil legendary for Rebellion on the marketplace. And Rebellion is really not selling, as we went through earlier. A lot of people are not buying packs, looks like not opening packs, and the cards that they have, they either are playing with, they have in their decks, or they have them on their mage wagons. So people are not putting these on the marketplace to sell. So it's going to be interesting to see in the coming months as Rebellion moves along. We get more of the airdrop cards. Are more of these going to come on the marketplace, or is it going to stay this low liquidity throughout the rest of Rebellion? Okay, guys, thank you for sticking with me for this long market watch update. I know it's kind of a long video, but just want to kind of go in depth on the overall health of the market, just kind of the sentiment of the market, how players are feeling really impacts the market. You know, if people are kind of down on the game, they dump their cards, prices go low. If people are kind of bullish on certain things, prices tend to go up. And then you have, you know, the weird outliers of cards, like some random beta commons that spike from a few pennies, you know, to 8 to 10 to 12 bucks. So thank you so much for watching. If there's any questions that you have, any comments, any future content that you would like to see me do, please let me know. I know I haven't done hardly anything the last couple weeks. Just really hasn't been a lot new for me to talk about or discuss. So if there's anything that you would like me to cover, whether it is Splinterlands, Splinter Forge, or Golem Overlord, please let me know. And until next time, stay the course, keep on forging, have fun. We'll see you soon.